All right, in this lesson, you are going to learn about ordering decimals. So you'll be able to order decimals from least to greatest or from greatest to least. Now, the first step, actually both steps are the same as when we compare. We're just going to have more to do it with. So our first step is still going to be to line up the decimals. And then the next step is still going to be to write zeros so that they're the same length. And then we can compare. So they are the same length. Again, that helps us to make sure they're all the same size, so then we're all talking about them being thousandths. So we're not trying to look at, okay, how do 5 thousandths or 5 tenths and 47 thousandths compare? Just makes it much more clear which one is bigger and which one is smaller. Also, I will say make sure you read carefully whether it's asking greatest to least or least to greatest, because it'll ask for both. So, this first one, we're writing it from least to greatest. Remember, least means the one that is the smallest, and greatest means the one that is the biggest. Write that if you need the reminder. All right, so there's lots of 7s, 8s, and 5s in this one. So let's write them and line up the decimals. Now, some of you will have an easier time seeing this than others. So it's not absolutely necessary, but especially as the numbers get trickier, this can be a really helpful step. So we have 7 as our whole number for all of them, so we know in that way they're all equal. We're looking for the smallest one now. We have 805 thousandths, 58 thousandths, 580 thousandths, 508 thousandths, and 8 thousandths. So we know they're all thousands, so we can just think about putting them in order like we would regular numbers, whole numbers. So first, my smallest one is going to be 7 and only 8 thousandths, because that is less than all the other ones. So then I like to cross that off so that I don't have to be confused whether I've used that one or not. So now I have 805, 58, 580, 508. Well, I know 58 is the next smallest. So we have 7 and 58 thousandths. Cross that one out. Now I have 805, 580, 508. Now if I wanted to, I could skip ahead and say, okay, I know that this one is the biggest because I know that 800 is bigger than the 500s. Now we just have 580 and 508. Well, 508 is smaller, so that one is smaller than that one. Okay, so again, think about how many pieces do I have and make sure I'm comparing the same size pieces. All right, if you want to give this one a shot, you can always pause it and try it by yourself, and then I will do it. All right, so we're going to write them vertically. If you need to do this on a whiteboard or something, depending on how much space you have on whatever paper you are working on, sometimes that can be helpful. 0, 5, 4. All right, if I didn't write my zeros, I would be comparing like 4 tenths to 5 hundredths, and that can just be a little harder to visualize. So that's why if we make them all into thousandths, then it can be a lot easier because I have 400 thousandths, 40 thousandths, 4 thousandths, 50 thousandths, and 54 thousandths. So I'm comparing the same size pieces. Again, I'm writing least to greatest. So I'm going to start with, well, 4 is the smallest out of all these. So I'm going to put that one first. Done with that one. So I have 400, 40, 50, 54. Well, 40 is the next one. Look at that one. Next I have 50, 54, or 400. So 50 is the next, 54 is the next, and 400 is the biggest. So notice if I hadn't have added my zeros, I might have thought, say for example, that 4 was smaller than 54. If I'm looking at this one and this one. But remember, this one is talking about 4/10. So if I picture, if I have it divided into tenths, that's 4 of them. That's almost half. This is 54 hundredths. So if I were to divide it into tenths and then hundredths and then even smaller into thousands, that would just be like a few pieces up there. So not even close to half of them. So that can help you if you visualize or picture it as a cube. 54 of those little pieces versus 4 of the big flat ones. 4 of the big flat ones is definitely going to be bigger. All right, 2 more. Then if you want to give it a shot before I go over it, go ahead. All right, remember, pause it if you do, and then I'll say, all right, notice we're going from greatest to least this time. So again, I'm going to write them because that helps me really, oops, I don't know why I started from the right. I guess we'll keep going from the right side. Doesn't really matter the order in which you write them on top of each other. All right, but then I'm going to make them all into thousandths since I have some thousandths. So I can say, okay, 7, they're all a whole number of 3. Don't forget to check because sometimes the whole numbers are different. Now I have 775 thousandths, 500 thousandths, 507 thousandths, 700, and 570. So all 500s are 700s. So I know the 700s are going to be bigger, and the 775 is going to be the biggest. So because I'm going greatest to least, that will go first. Then I have my other 700. And sometimes when I'm writing, I can write the original version. Yes, I added the zeros, but when I'm putting it back in my answer, say if it was multiple choice, it'd probably give you the original number without the zeros. Now I have 500, 507, and 570. So 570 is next, biggest. Then 507, and just 5. All right, 1 more. All right, so lots of 1s and 0s on this one. Let's write them vertically. I'm sure some of you will be tempted to skip this step, but I promise it really is helpful in catching mistakes that you might make if you just look at them. Notice this last number is just 1.1. So I still have to focus on lining up the decimals, not my first spot. Because 1 is actually less than 11. So we know this one is actually going to be our smallest one without even looking at the decimal part of it. We're going greatest to least, so we can just go ahead and put 1.1 or 1 1/10 at the end. Now I will add my zeros. I could have added my zeros before I did that, but I noticed with the whole number that it was different, so I was able to eliminate that one and put that in its spot right away. Now I have 10 thousandths, 100 thousandths, 110 thousandths, and 101 thousandths. So I know 110 is the biggest. Then I have 101 thousandths. Then I have, oops, I was getting confused because I didn't cross them off. That one, I used that one. Now I just have 11 and 100 thousandths, or 1/10, and then 11 and 100th, or 10 thousandths. All right, if you want me to help you out with your worksheet or give you some more examples, I'm more than happy to do that. Just let me know. Good luck.